The bullet barrage tore through the air above them, not missing by much. But in this case, not much was enough to give them a fighting chance. And that was all men such as Preacher and Jamie MacCallister ever asked for. Jamie landed to the left in the wide center aisle, Preacher to the right. They rolled away from each other as they filled their hands. Preacher had both dragoons spitting fire back at the ambushers in less than the blink of an eye. Jamie carried a Walker Colt, a slightly older revolver that, like Preacher's dragoons, was a .44 caliber weapon, but it was heavier and had an 1.5 inch longer barrel. It sounded almost like a cannon as it boomed and bucked in Jamie's hands. Bullets tore up the ground around the two frontiersmen as they came to a stop on their bellies and continued blasting back at the bushwhacker. Dog darted through the open door and left his feet in a leap that carried him into the man who had pretended to be a hostler to lure Preacher and Jamie into the trap. After his desperate dive, that man had come back on one knee and yanked a gun from under his shirt. He was leveling it at Jamie, who was closest to him, when Dog crashed into him. The impact of the big cur's weight knocked the man backwards. The gun in his hand went off, but he had flung his arms up wildly as he fell, and the bullet went harmlessly into the ceiling. The next second, Dog's jaws clamped on the wrist of his gun hand. Flesh shredded, blood spurted, and bones cracked. The man dropped the revolver and thrashed around frantically as he tried to throw Dog off, but Dog had a death grip on him and wouldn't let him go. The agonized shrieking and the return fire from Preacher and Jamie must have disconcerted the ambushers for a moment. Their shots slacked off, and that gave the two intended victims time to roll again, surge to their feet, and throw themselves behind some cover. Jamie wound up kneeling inside an empty stall while Preacher stretched out behind a pile of hay. The hay wouldn't stop many bullets, but it shielded Preacher from the view of the men who wanted to kill him. That was better than nothing. With each of them on opposite sides of the center aisle, they had cut the threat facing them in half. The man on the same side as Jamie couldn't get a shot at him, and the same held true on Preacher's side of the barn.
Looks like we're gonna have to help each other out, Jamie.
Just like plenty of times before. From the sound of the shots, I make it just one varmint on each side, not counting the fella Dog grabbed hold of.
That man had stopped screaming, but he was still whimpering miserably as he lay curled on his side with his savaged arm cradled against him. Dog had released him and backed off a few steps, but the big cur's hackles were still raised, and he bared his teeth menacingly as he watched the fallen man. It was pretty safe to say that man was out of the fight.
What do you want to bet those other hombres are the ones I was foolish enough to let leave at Dillard's last night? The ones who cleared out before the shooting started?
More than likely. I can't think of anybody else in these parts who'd have a grudge against us.
You boys did the smart thing last night. You should have just kept on being smart and left town. Now you're gonna die on account of being stubborn.
What the hell did you expect us to do? Once word got around that we ran out and Blakemore and those other boys died, nobody would have ever trusted us again.
And with good reason, I reckon.
It won't look near so bad once we kill you two and settle the score.
That ain't likely to happen. And you went and dragged your friend into this mess, too, and he about got his arm chewed off. Seems to me y'all are in pretty poor shape all the way around.
At this point, best thing that could happen for you boys would be if the law showed up and arrested you. That's probably the only way you get out of this mess alive.
What law? There ain't no civilian law in Leavenworth, and the Army don't have jurisdiction except over soldiers.
Jurisdiction? That's a powerful big word for a dumb jackass like you, boy.
Why, you...